So I'm going against my own community post. I did say that a certain creator shouldn't get any attention, right? Kind of fuels the fire. And in my opinion, the attention is kind of what they want, right? I don't know, gives them a little content. In my opinion, they like to see people triggered. But after a lot of things that I've heard, yeah, I'm going to do a video. And I decided to just kind of sit outside and, I don't know, get some fresh air. I think maybe some more people in the YouTube streets should maybe get some fresh air. Maybe they need it. This might be a long video. I don't know. I'm going to try to maybe not make it long, but I'm going to cover a lot. It's a lot of ugliness. Well, there's always been ugliness, but never this slow. Never this slow. We're going to cover a lot of different things. First off, one of the things that I want to talk about, I'm not really going to go over a whole lot about Sally Ann. I mean, we've all heard the video, right? And no matter how Lycan wants to twist it, he wasn't trying to help her. And no matter if you think somebody might be just wanting attention, or no matter if you think, that they've done this over and over, whatever. In my last video, I've already stated before, you just never know. You don't. And the worst thing that you can do, especially knowing that you're that person's trigger, right, is to go and trigger them more. So why would he go over to her channel? That is the problem. That is why a lot of people are upset. It's one thing to go ahead and keep talking shit, right? Clapping back, talking shit, doing whatever. But to actually go over to her channel, follow her over there, knowing she was already upset and under the influence, knowing she has mental health issues. She's already put it out there. She has mental health issues, like some other people that we are supposed to walk on, tiptoe around, walk on eggshells, give passes to all the time. But to go over there, and it was very clear that she is in distress. She is having a meltdown. Add that to being under the influence, okay? And then to get on panel, and he wants to say, well, she let me up. You can clearly tell that she was not in her right mind. I've already said that on my last video. She probably was not thinking clearly, because no way would she have just allowed him up on panel to antagonize her even more. And she probably was not in the frame of mind of getting him off a panel, because you could tell when she stopped talking or when the live should have ended, it just kept going, right? There was no she wasn't on anymore, but, you know, the chat was still going. But there was silence, right? She probably had no idea that she actually let him on there. And then she wasn't in her frame of mind to boot him off. A real man, or just a decent human being wouldn't have went over there to begin with, because you knew that you were the one triggering her, okay? You were her trigger. And then you would have not even tried to get on her panel. But, you know, you're one of those busybodies that has to go to all these different channels and try to get up on panel, you know, to trigger people, you know, that shock factor, you know, that Howard Stern's, get that content so you can scurry over, like I said before, so you can do a live, so you can have a content. What else would you have, right? So say that, let's say that, you know, you kind of did have a heart, and maybe you did have a little bit of good intentions. Maybe that was your, you know, intention. Yeah, like dug way deep down in that dark soul, and that's why you went over there. When you got up on panel, you know, you say, well, you know, I was the only one calm. Yeah, it was a cluster, because when people see their friends in distress and talking about unliving themselves, you freak, right? Especially if you've been through it ever before, right? I've been through it, I already said, with a good friend of mine last summer that talked about it openly all the time. Never thought in a million years he would do it, and he did. So they're freaking out. And yes, of course, Lycan was calm, collective. But a real man, if he was trying to help and not trigger her, would have said, you know, since he couldn't have just stayed away and seeing that he was triggering her more and just, you know, plopped his ass down off of her panel, would have said, Sally Ann, I'm sorry you're feeling this way. You know, I'm sorry if I hurt you. I'm going to get down because I see that I'm a trigger, you know. You're worth it. Your life is worth it. I'm sorry. Not, oh, you're doing this for attention, and not saying the other awful things that he said. That's what people are pissed off about, okay? Because he had to follow her on panel and then say what he had to say. There is no excuse. There is no twisting it. And I'm not going to sit here and say that he said things that he didn't say. I'm about the truth, all right? So I'm not going to do that. We heard it. I'm not going to spin a narrative, because I heard some things that people said that he said that he did not say, all right? I don't need to go over that. But he definitely was triggering her more. And he knew that he was a trigger for her. He knew she was in distress. That was not a fake cry. That was not a fake being upset and being not a fake breakdown, okay? She was also under the influence. She made that clear. You can't reason with somebody that's under the influence like that. And when they're having a mental break on top of it. The best thing to do is let their friends, the people that actually care about them, deal with the situation and get them the help they need. Their, quote, enemy needs to stay away. So that's the first thing that I wanted to talk about. Now, why did this all start to begin with Sally? How did it all start? We all know. We all know the truth. Nobody really wants, I mean, they're kind of saying it. They're kind of saying it. But let's be honest. We all know. Mrs. Portland's lies. All right? The lies is what started all this bullshit. And yes, I am going to cuss more than I normally do because it is bullshit. We have walked on eggshells because Mrs. Portland is disabled. But she knows exactly what she's doing. We have put up with this for coming on almost a year now, with her in every single community, multiple times, where she has caused so much drama, where she has hurt a lot of people, and then claims to be attacked, when she's attacked them first, okay? And then people ignore it. They normally ignore it until the attack goes on and on and on, and then they finally say something about it. Now, you do have some people that have went after Mrs. Portland, in my opinion, making fun of her. All right? I don't agree with that. But like I said before, Mrs. Portland isn't worried about them. She doesn't talk about them if they're small names. It's only the bigger creators, the bigger name subs that upset her. Not these other, like, clip channels, smaller names in this community. No. She isn't worried about them. Not the ones that actually have attacked her or have made fun of her. Those people don't bother her. I wonder why. Why is that? It's only the bigger names, the bigger channels that get her upset. And we all know the truth, okay? She even said she threw the hissy fit over the awards. That's what started this. That's what started this. And even though she threw this hissy fit and she started attacking CJ didn't say a word. Country Joe didn't say a word for a while. And then she started attacking Sally Ann and her mod because they had something in real life going on with somebody else, and they did not contact her because she's used to them reaching out to her, like she said, 2 or 3 times a day, on a daily, because nobody else has a life. Mrs. Portland's also put it out there, you know, she's addicted to YouTube. She said it herself. She sleeps, she eats, she's on YouTube. That's it. That's her life. So she expects everybody else to not have a life outside of YouTube, in my opinion. And if you are her friend, by golly, you better be at her beck and call. But at this time that she was upset over not being nominated, Sally Ann and her mod was going through some real life stuff, okay? And they couldn't be at her beck and call when she was upset about these awards, and they didn't return her call or reach out to her that day. So Mrs. Portland went on a rampage on her wall about Sally Ann and her mod and the small town jewel, okay? We all seen it, even though she deleted it. She kept posting, deleting. We seen it. Sally Ann did not say anything about Mrs. Portland. But at that time, she made the decision to cut ties with her. She had enough. Because this isn't her first rodeo with Mrs. Portland either. We know that. We seen what she was doing to Sally Ann and her mod and Small Town Jewel. That's the truth. Now, none of these ladies clapped back at Mrs. Portland, even though Mrs. Portland was going nuts on her community wall, on her videos, and then deleting them. She was doing this for how long before these ladies clapped back and said, enough is enough. This is what Mrs. Portland does. And then finally, when somebody claps back and says, I've had enough, then Mrs. Portland cries and says, they're attacking me. They're mentally attacking me because I'm disabled. That's bullshit. This is why this started. And everybody knows it. Okay? It's time to call out the truth. This is what started it. Now, yes, Mrs. Portland will, after she does her dirty deeds, she'll say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for my bad behavior, but she has not said, I'm sorry, Sally Ann. I am sorry I started this. I am sorry that I had 2 men go after you. I'm sorry, CJ, that I threw a fit. I am sorry that I got on my channel and I attacked you for no reason. I am sorry, Sally Ann, that you didn't have time for me that day when I needed you because you were dealing with real life stuff, and I attacked you for days and days. And I did it first. You didn't attack me first. You didn't say shit about me. I'm sorry to you, too. All she says is, I'm sorry for my bad behavior. She doesn't go and say, I'm sorry to that person. Until months later, when she tries to get back in their community again, then she'll make an apology to them to try to get back in their community. That's when she does it. Okay? Let's be honest. Now, I absolutely understand Mrs. Portland does have mental health issues. She has some physical issues. Mrs. Portland can get around. We see her get around quite well. Physically, yeah, we see it. I'm sorry. We also know Mrs. Portland is a compulsive liar. We have heard it. There's clips everywhere. I can make a list of the lies, and there's proof out there, okay? They have it all in video. I mean, you can type in her name and you can, catch them. You can catch all the lies. Having physical disabilities and mental disabilities does not mean it makes you a pathological liar. And that is what she is. Does she have problem with impulse controls? Yeah, I do believe she does. Anger? We all get angry. Okay? PTSD? A lot of people have it. Bipolar? A lot of people have it. Fetal alcohol syndrome. Like I said, went to high school with the girl. She works a job, raises a family. She has fetal alcohol syndrome, PTSD, depression. Totally understand. But to enable this bad behavior, and absolutely, people are enabling it. We can have, like I said before, compassion, and we can overlook some of the behaviors, absolutely. Some of the community posts, absolutely, we can overlook it because of her disabilities. But when you downright lie and you downright attack, continuously attack, right? And cause such chaos. And then when someone finally says enough is enough and they say something back, and then you go around and you say they are mentally attacking me, they're bullying me, harassing me, and then you're going up on everyone's panel saying I didn't say anything about them, you liar. I just heard that today. I heard her say on someone's panel that she didn't say anything about CJ. She didn't say anything about Sally Ann. Are you kidding me? And people are agreeing with her. And they know it's a lie. Yes, she, in my opinion, absolutely started this attack. Now, I don't think Sally Ann got along with Lycan at all, but she was a friend of Robbie's. Okay? She absolutely was a friend of Robbie's. That friendship got lost. And also a lot of friendships got lost. We're going to talk about Mrs. Portland a little bit later because I'm not done with it yet. Okay? A lot of friendships got lost because of this. Because yes, Robbie he's got an undying love for Mrs. Portland, and that's absolutely fine. He feels that he needs to protect her because she has nobody. Well, she had a lot of people that cared about her. That absolutely did. They took her under their wing. But she has done this with everybody that has cared about her. If they cannot give her attention 24/7, because, a lot of people, they have jobs, they have families, husbands, children. They have to clean their own house. They have to cook. Go to the grocery store. They get outside and do things, right? They don't live just on YouTube. So they can't give her 24/7 attention that she needs. Because again, she has admitted she is addicted to YouTube. She sleeps, she eats, she's on YouTube. That's what she said today. And she is on everybody's channel. Everybody's. But here's something. She tells everybody to stay off her channel. Stay off her wall. Quit looking at her wall. Quit stalking her. But yet, she's on everybody else's. She knows what everybody else is saying. Make that make sense. A lot of people, like I said, a lot of people got hurt over the weekend, this past week. A lot of friendships have ended. Because, Robbie is standing up for Mrs. Portland. That's his choice. It was also his choice to lose a lot of friendships. Okay? Because a lot of people did not agree with the way that he handled the Sally Ann, because it's hard for them to understand how, he said that he lost a friend because they cried wolf, and then they actually unlived themselves. So they didn't agree with how he treated Sally Ann, who was also a friend of his, and how he knew that she also suffered from mental health issues as well as alcoholism. She's said that to Robbie. And Robbie has also said that he has dealt with, addictions. So he should know how that feels. You got two different things going against you there, right? And Robbie knows. He knows that Mrs. P has attacked Sally Ann. He knows this. Okay? And I understand that he has been busy with his own life. But Mrs. P also, Robbie had it with her. But he is like, you have to, you have to give her a pass. You have to understand that she doesn't have the coping skills and this and that. And I understand where he's coming from. He's trying to get people to understand this. But while he's doing that, he is building a monster, because now she absolutely thinks she can get away with whatever she can, do. Like a 2-year-old, like a toddler. When you don't set boundaries, which he says he set boundaries with her, but has he? Because she's getting worse. Now, I heard today they're like, oh, she's getting better. Yeah, really? Have you seen her wall? No, she's not getting better. See, you don't see it because she does her, her deleting. And, they're like, well, you just got to ignore it. Well, why isn't Mrs. P ignoring it? Why are you saying one person's mental health is any worse than the others? Okay? Seriously. Just because you think you know that one is worse than the others. But anyways, whatever they want to do, that's their choice. But people don't have to put up with Mrs. Portland's abuse. Just because you are going to put up with it, it doesn't mean everybody else has to put up with it. And it doesn't mean that you can go around and abuse others in the name of Mrs. Portland. But he lost a lot of friends, and that's his business. Now we're going to move on from that, okay? There were some other things that I seen today that just, I don't know. I really liked Robbie, and that's what a lot of people are saying, that they're seeing a big change in Robbie. I did too. I seen a big change. Robbie just doesn't seem like the mellow person that he changed and turned to be. It seems like he's just not that person anymore. I don't know what's going on. He seemed like he was just... I don't even know how to explain it. We're going to move on to Lycan. Okay, we were already talking about the Sally situation, and I'm going to end talking about that. In my opinion, okay, yes, Mrs. Portland, that's where it started from, okay, in my opinion. No one has to agree with me. But then Lycan, on top of that, he wants to talk about women that have been sexually assaulted, okay, that studies were done. It's a fact that they get aroused, that they enjoyed it, you know. You got to put those two words together, arousal, enjoyment. Really? I mean, who's he to even talk on the subject, right? Seriously? So that's got a lot of people really upset. A lot of women. He has really triggered a lot of people on a lot of different things this past week and weekend. Not just with the Sally Ann, you know, because, you know, that's been a big trigger. I've seen a lot of people that they have had people, you know, in their family or friends that have unalived themselves or have threatened to, and that has brought back some horrible memories. And now you have a lot of women that are coming forward and saying, I have been SA'd, and this has been a real trigger for me for what, you know, what he is saying. And this is really why I'm doing the video, because I want to speak to Lycan. Because, you know, he makes comments too, you know, why does people just, you know, they hide behind their avatar? Why don't you panel up? Because of creeps like you, crazy people like you, is why a lot of people don't want to panel up or show their face, right? Because you like to go on the attack. Just like with, who was it? Her name was Lori. You had to go on the attack about her haircut because she shaved her head. Now, you had to make fun of that. And, you know, she showed her proof. Like, she shouldn't have had to, because, you know, it doesn't matter what somebody looks like. It doesn't. Whether it be a man or a woman. See, I will never make fun of anybody's looks. Not even Lycan, right? I'm not going to say anything about his looks. But he wanted to make fun of her, you know, having the haircut. Now, he has no clue why. Some women just like that hairstyle. A lot of women do. Some like their hair long. I have long hair. Okay? I have long blonde hair. I might cut it off. Okay? I'm sick of the heat. Shit. I'm sick of freaking curling it or straightening it or just putting it up. I might shave it. I don't know. But he had no clue if, you know, she cut it short because she liked it, or I don't know, maybe she's battling cancer. You know, a lot of women lose their hair, men too. That never crossed his mind, that this woman could be battling cancer, or maybe she's a cancer survivor growing her hair back. No, didn't cross his mind, because shit just spews out of his mouth, you know, for that shock factor, to see if he can trigger somebody. But what Lori did, she grew her hair and she cut it and donated it for cancer patients, right? You know, something Lycan probably wouldn't even think twice about doing. You know, you got to have a You got to have a giving heart to think about that. And when she showed her proof, she did show it. You know, nobody in his community, they didn't have anything to say about that. They didn't, it was nothing like, oh, that was a great thing that she did, nothing like that. And I'm sure that there's, people in his community that are touched by cancer in some way or another, right? Maybe they lost a loved one. Maybe they're fighting cancer themselves or a survivor of cancer. Maybe they've had a child that battled cancer and maybe was donated one of those wigs. Because they donate, normally the kids, their families don't have to pay. They get that donation of the wigs, and maybe one of their children was lucky enough to get a donation from someone like Lori who donated her hair. But no one's going to say anything because they don't want to piss off their king, their leader, right? That what Lori did was a wonderful thing. And then he had to say something on the lines of, making fun of her, nobody would ever have sex with her unless she was ARD. Again, a trigger for a lot of people that have been sexually assaulted. But see, he doesn't think about this because, he likes that dark humor. He doesn't think before he speaks, right? That it can trigger a lot of women that have been sexually assaulted. But the biggest thing was what he said about women that have been assaulted, that they must have enjoyed it. That's basically what he's saying. If you want to say it in layman terms, that they're enjoying it when they're being sexually assaulted. They enjoyed it. Do you know how many children are molested every day? Are you saying that these children are enjoying this act? That's basically what you're saying. How disgusting is that? How can anybody stand behind somebody that says that? How can anybody support that? I would like to know. Somebody that doesn't have any morals. I'm sorry. You do not have any morals. You have no self-respect. You don't respect most of them are women that are his followers. It's a slap in the face for the Me Too movement. Okay? And I can hold up my hand for the Me Too. And he pulls up people, I guess some people come up, from his community, and they said, well, I wasn't triggered. I was essayed, and your words didn't trigger me. And I have to say to myself, were they really? Were they really? And I know people are thinking, oh my gosh, how could you say that? Are you saying that, you don't believe them when they say that they were? Well, I'm sorry, but if they say that his words, what he's saying is not upsetting and that it doesn't bother them, then yes, I have to question. I have to question if they actually were or if they can still support him. Because are you saying that when you were the R word, that you were aroused and that it was pleasurable for you? I don't think so. Are you going to stand behind that these children that are molested are enjoying it? Are you going to stand behind that? I don't think so. But you're still going to support him, in my opinion, to fit in, to be in this community, because you got to belong somewhere, right? In these YouTube streets, in this drama circle. You don't fit in anywhere else. And you like that dark humor, right? Now, I like dark humor too. Okay, don't get me wrong. But there's a difference between dark humor and absolutely being disgusting. And what is that other thing that he said? Or that he wrote, excuse me, about what, his ex that's still kissing his butt? What, because she has the need to belong as well? Getting rid of her like don't quote me, okay, on exactly the way that it was said. Getting rid of her like an N baby. Okay? But he said the full word. Now, like I said, don't quote me. I'm not saying it verbatim. That was just back in May. But his community is like, oh, those are just words. They're just... Yeah, it's very busy today. It's just words. But they're okay with that. They're okay with that. But I'm going to tell you something. I can almost bet that none of them in that community, okay? Because I'm sure that he has some in the community that have biracial children, maybe biracial grandchildren, or someone in their family that's biracial, okay? Or African Americans in the community, right? So I can almost guarantee you, if these people in his community that support him, if a stranger, because, you know, Lycan is a stranger to them, right? They've never met him. He's just someone on the internet. If a stranger would come up to them on the street, and if a loved one of theirs was in distress, and was talking about harming themselves, unliving themselves, and if a stranger would come up to them and would look them in the face and said, oh, you're not going to do anything, you're just doing this for attention, and then say some of the ugly words that they said, that Lycan said, if a stranger would say that to their loved ones, they would punch them in the face. They'd take them out, right? Again, if a stranger would come up to some of, like I said, these people that are in his community, and if they would tell these people that has been, you know, assaulted, well, you know what? Anybody that's been AR'd, they enjoyed it. You know, they get aroused by it. You know, there's studies done. I know that, you know, Most of them enjoy it. They'd get punched in the face. Especially if you're a victim. If you've been a victim. Hopefully a survivor of it. Hopefully you got counseling and you moved on. Okay? You're moving on. Again, if a stranger comes up and you're a mother of a mixed baby, biracial baby, child, or you're a grandmother of a biracial child, or you have a family member and you have that child sitting next to you, and you have a stranger come up to you and calls that child the N-word, you'd punch him in the face, right? But wait, they're just words, right? But you're giving your king a pass on it because they're just words, right? He's a stranger. Why is he getting a pass to say it? Why do you condone it? That's the question. Or do you just hate other creators so bad that you're hate bonding with this creator? I don't know. And then he's taken this title of what? Bow down to the king? I mean, he can't even be original. He stole that from Natasha. I mean, come on now. Can't even be original and come up with his own name. One of the reasons why I'm doing this video is because there's a lot of hurt. Like I said, in this circle. A lot of people got triggered. A lot of past traumas resurfaced. Lycan didn't trigger me. Okay? He didn't trigger me. What triggered me, and yes, I'm a survivor of SA. Okay? It took a lot of work. It took a lot of volunteering with women that got me through. He didn't trigger me. But what triggered me was seeing all the hurt of people coming up telling their story and hearing the tears and hearing him laugh about it. And the people in his community making memes and jokes about it, about triggering the Karens. All right? People are Karens in their eyes because they've been assaulted. And him saying those words have been very hurtful. And they've brought up a lot of old wounds. And maybe some are still in therapy trying to deal with it. And yes, some people have said that they reported their assault. Other people have not reported their assault. Some were molested as children. So that really, really hit them hard on what he said. That's what triggered me. I can go toe to toe with Lycan. Okay? And I am going to be going live soon. I'll go on his panel any day. All right? Because unlike him, I don't have to hit below the belt. I don't have to go after anybody's looks. I don't have to yell or scream. Okay? I don't have to do that shit. Because, I do have tough skin. I don't have to do a shock value to get views and clicks and money. I know he depends on that to pay his bills. I don't. And I'm not saying anything negative about creators that do this full time to pay their bills, because a lot of creators do. I'm just saying I don't have to do that. So I'm not doing anything for a shock value. And he can go as low as he wants. I mean, I already said I'm a domestic violence survivor. Nothing he can call me, my ex-husband didn't call me. Kind of immune to it. Right? He can degrade my looks all he wants. But I earned all my battle wounds. So I don't give a shit. What has he earned? Nothing. Alright? Not a damn thing. I've worked since I was 16 years old to provide for my family. And I put up with the ex. So, hey, I'm a survivor. So, like I said, he can say whatever he wants. It won't faze me one bit. But I won't change my tone. I mean, I can cuss a little bit, but I still won't stoop to that level, because I know how to adult. And I know how to deal with, not going to say man, I know how to deal with people like him, because people like him are like my ex-husband. My ex-husband was just like him. Just like him. The attention had to be around him, and the shock value, yeah. So, I know what I'm dealing with. And I don't have to go that low, okay? I don't have to make fun of him. I don't have to yell at him. I don't have to do any of that stuff that, he does to other people. Don't have to go there to get my point across. But see, you can't change people either, okay? They are who they are. So there's really no point on going on his panel, because who he is who he is. This is what he believes, right? That's what he believes. I don't know if that's how he was raised. You can't blame it all on the parents either. You can have great parents and your offspring just turns out to be a shitty person. Or the parents could believe that way. Who knows? But you can't change a person. You could try to teach them, some morals, but, that old saying, can't teach a old dog new tricks. He's almost 40 years old, so who knows? We're going to move on from that. Like I said, he did not trigger me. What triggered me was all the women that were hurt and the tears. You could feel the hurt throughout this entire community and the pain. So we're going to move on from that. We're going to talk about Brittney. Brittney made the decision to move away from Lycan because she took the time out. And first off, I have to say, I don't know much about Brittney, okay? I have not ventured out far enough to listen to Brittney or whatever, so I don't know much about Brittney. But she decided that she was going to, I guess she was a supporter of Lycan. she decided that she was not going to support him anymore. And she knew that she was going to lose friendships. Again, this is what makes it really hard when creators go separate ways and they share subs or they build the friendships or whatever. She knew she was going to lose people. But after listening to the tape with Sally Ann, and after hearing what he said about SA victims, she decided that I can't support this. And she shared, my solar lights just came on my umbrella. She shared her story because she's also an SA victim. And this is the thing. This has brought out some people that did not want to, maybe they didn't want to share, they weren't ready to, but they did anyways. They shared their own stories. And another thing I forgot, Lycan, I don't know who it was, somebody got up on panel, and yes, I was listening to a little bit of Lycan. And I listened to him before, just a little bit, because I try to give everybody I want to give them a chance to see if I'm going to like their content, right? And he said something before, and maybe it was, trying to think of what he said. Somebody else came up on his panel, I don't know who it was, and they were upset about it too. And they said that they were an SA victim, and he's like, oh yeah, don't quote me word for word on this either, but because I don't want people to twist it and say, oh no, that's not how it went, because we know how people are on these YouTube streets, right? So this isn't going to be word for word. But he said something like, oh, you're going to use the SA card, or of course you're going to say that you were SA'd too, like they were lying. Okay. You'd be amazed, Lycan, how many women have been SA'd. Okay. Seriously. Thank God you haven't. Okay. Because men get assaulted as well. All right. And it can be by another man. It could be by a woman. It's happened. But it can also be by another man. Okay. You could be walking down the street and you could be assaulted by another man. So keep your eyes open, Lycan. Just saying, it can happen. It doesn't always have to be a woman that's assaulted. And no, that's not a threat, because people want to clip and say, oh my gosh, she said that. No, I'm saying it happens to men too. And it could happen to him like it can happen to anybody else. People think it only happens to women. And that's not the case. Men can be assaulted as well. And they can be assaulted by a woman, or they can be assaulted by another man. It has happened. And a lot of times men will absolutely not turn it in, because they feel like they're not going to be believed at all. I'm not even going to get into that, but it should be talked about. Just like men can be abused with domestic violence, and a lot of times they don't turn that in. That should be discussed. We should really discuss that, because men, there's a lot of men that are in abusive relationships. We will save that for another day. But anyways, back to Brittney. She was sharing a story, her own story. And that is why she said she cannot support Lycan anymore. She doesn't want to lose her friendships, and she wishes him well. But after hearing what she heard, and after thinking about it, she cannot support him. And she wished him well. And some other ladies came up and shared their stories. And they were shaking, crying, okay? And Brittney, you could tell she was doing some crying. She was upset. And again, she shared her own story. And that's all there was to it. And then I caught some of Lycan's live afterwards, and I only listened to a little bit of it. Didn't listen to it all. Now, I don't know if he was rude to her later on in the video or not, but what I heard was that he said he was not going to drag her, okay? So if that is how he stayed with the entire video, I have to give him props on that. I think he said that, and don't quote me again, I think he said that he was going to respect her decision. I think he also said, and don't quote me again, that, you know, maybe people were influencing her. And then you look in the chat, and people were saying that Granny's watching influenced her and did a truce with her. Now, Brittney did, because I listened to Brittney, she did another live, and she's like, I didn't hear Granny, I did not hear Granny's video at all. Nobody influenced me. This was my own decision, and the reason why was because I am a victim of SA. And this is why I can't support him, because I don't believe in this. And after listening to Sally's video, okay, I can't support him because of what he did, of going over there. I think that is what gets a lot of people. Not basically what all led up to that, but because he had to go over there, and people feel like if he would have just stayed away and wouldn't have done that, not really, you know, because a lot of people, and even Lycan's like, a lot of people are trying to twist my words of what I said. And yes, some people have said that he said certain things that weren't said, okay, that I didn't catch either. But if he would have just stayed away, because you were her trigger, you know you were, stay away, right? But that is the reason. But people in the chat were saying, Granny said that she would do a truce and leave you alone, you know, and she would get you away from Lycan or whatever, and that's why Brittney did it. And then something else about somebody offered her son popcorn money, and that's why she did it. And then you have all these people, especially Pesky. I'm unsubbing. I lost all respect for her. Really, Pesky? Okay? I think I lost respect for you a long time ago, and I think I'm still subbed to you. You changed. And yes, I am calling you out. You changed. And not for the better. And then you said, and a lot of people were saying that too, I'm unsubbing. But Pesky kept saying it over and over. I lost all respect. And then I seen some other stuff where, you know, she was posting, you know, the meme about triggered Karens. All right. The obsession with Granny is a little insane, Pesky. Okay? It really is. I mean, if you look at the videos in Community Wall, come on now. And the thing is, we also see the comments, what you wrote about Sally Ann and the attention. You know, she did this for attention. I'm going to try to say this in the nicest way. Do we have like a mind lapse here? Because I just, I remember not too long ago, everybody in this community, a lot of people, including myself, staying up late, a lot of people all night long, because of somebody blaming somebody else because they were going to end it all. And that person didn't go on nobody's panel or didn't do anything. Because, we seen some messages, right? But yet, you're saying she did it for attention. Like I said, no matter if it was done for attention or not, I mean, who are you to call anybody out? Seriously? Who are you to call somebody out? You've turned nasty. You are nasty. I guess you are the company you keep. Because you're okay with someone saying, about SA victims, it's pleasurable for them. They enjoy it. You're okay with someone getting on somebody's panel. I mean, if someone would have done that to you, that night you were all upset, would you have been okay with that? If they would have done that to you that night, would you have been okay? I don't think so. Everybody was reaching out to you, Pesky. Everybody. In all communities. They weren't antagonizing you. Even the, quote, hate communities were reaching out. I mean, we can scroll back and look. Everybody. I think you forgot how much love and support everywhere. You weren't getting hate. You weren't getting people posting all this crap all over the place like Sally Ann is getting. Freaking insane. So anyways, now Brittney is Mrs. Portland's target. So now we're going back to Mrs. Portland. Mrs. Portland is saying that Brittney, keep my name out of on our community wall. Now, she said today on her video that she is doing so much better and she's trying to walk away when people trigger, get off Facebook. Well, she doesn't get off Facebook, or not Facebook, YouTube. She already said that. She tries to get off YouTube when she's triggered. No, she doesn't. She does not. She's got to go and see what everybody is saying and doing. So she's saying on there that she unsubbed, that she's disappointed in Brittney, that Brittney betrayed Lycan, and Brittney needs to keep her name out of her mouth. Brittney never said Mrs. Portland's name. There was another girl that came up there that said, why did Lycan, send this picture to Mrs. Portland? I don't know what picture it was. I guess it was a pretty nasty picture. And what they were doing, and I guess Robbie knew about it too, is they sent it to Mrs. Portland because I guess Sally was showing all these community posts that Mrs. Portland was putting up, right? Because Mrs. Portland was doing the attacking. Not Sally, Mrs. Portland, by the community post. And Sally Ann was showing it on her channel, and what they were hoping was that Sally Ann would show that, and they were waiting to strike Sally Ann's channel. Well, didn't they think that, the people that are trying to clip Mrs. Portland's stuff, that they weren't waiting to grab something of Mrs. Portland's and that they wouldn't strike her channel? What kind of friends would do that? They chanced Mrs. Portland having her channel taken down again. Okay, yes, Mrs. Portland is ban evading. She already said it herself that her one channel was already taken down. So, in my opinion, she's ban evading too. And then she turned around and said, no, I deleted it. No, that's not what she said. She said it was taken down for bullying and harassing. That's what she said the first time. And then she started this channel up. Back in February, I think. So, they were chancing Mrs. Portland's channel getting taken down for nudity. Hoping that, you know, Sally Ann would post that over there. Why would they do that? Real friends wouldn't do that, right? So that's what the girl said. Brittney did not mention Mrs. Portland's name, so Mrs. Portland's lying on Brittney. She's saying, keep my name out of your mouth, your nasty mouth. So she's making people think that Brittney's talking about her. Brittney did not say a word about her. So is that going to be the new thing now? Brittney's attacking me. She's talking about me. Because that's what Mrs. Portland does. To get people going. They're attacking me. They're attacking me. When they don't say a shit about her. And then she goes on with another post. It's still up. Last time I looked at it, it's still up. She was never a true friend to Lycan. You know, you don't deserve Lycan. Everybody unsub to Brittney. Everybody unsub to Brittney. Mrs. Portland, you don't have a community, okay? You don't do anything on your page but gossip and write nasty shit on. You have no content. You could have. You do beautiful work. You could do wonderful things on your channel, but all you do is gossip and about what's going on, basically nasty stuff. When you want people not to go to someone's channel, okay? You don't have a community. Just like me, I don't have a community. You know, I don't. But Brittney made up her own mind because she's an SA victim. Something you are not. Something you wouldn't understand. That's why. Okay? She didn't backstab Lycan, and really, it's none of your business. She made up her own mind. And she's not cozying up with Granny. And again, you're sitting there calling Country Joe. You're stirring the shit pot because you won't call Country Joe by her name. Country Joe, that's what she goes by. You're calling her Country Schmo and this and that. But yet you're saying, I'm not starting anything. I'm not doing nothing wrong. I'm not doing nothing. They're attacking me. They're just attacking me. But you keep talking about them. And then you're calling them these names. Now, are they calling you names? Are they sitting there calling you bad names? Or not calling you Mrs. Portland or Mrs. P? Are they calling you different names? No. That's you. That's you doing it. Right? You go from one person to another attacking them. And then when they clap back, when they've had enough, then you go crying to Robbie and Lycan. To have them go fight them. Have two men go fight females. That's what you do. And now you posted Sally Ann's video from Lycan's. Everybody, you need to listen to this. She's faking it, and she's turning it around to make the blame on me. Sally Ann is talking about Lycan. She's talking about wanting to end her life. And again, you're trying to make it about you. Every panel that Mrs. Portland is on, she makes it about herself. It's me, 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 me. Everything is me, 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 me. Now, I understand that could be part of her disability. Okay? So I will give her a complete pass for that. She might need all of that attention. That might be part of her disability. I'll give her a pass for that. But she is stirring the shit pot by posting that on her wall. But that's okay, right? She's allowed to do that. She says it's her wall, her playground, whatever, and it's Lycan's video. But all she's doing is stirring it up again. And they were saying, you know, well, what was Robbie and Lycan saying? Well, they should have, if they're good friends of Sally Ann's, they should have been telling her that she needs to log off. I guess Sally Ann was on CJ's. I didn't hear it. But I guess she came on. It's been, you know what, a few days. She came on. And they should have been telling her, you know, for her own mental health that she should just, you know, log off of YouTube for a couple of days. Or a week, a month, or whatever. Now, she hasn't went on her own channel yet. Now, we got to understand, I think Sally Ann is what, monetized? I don't quote me there. But she does her crafting. She makes money off of that too. So she does a business as well. Right? And so they're sitting there saying, you know, if she's got mental health issues and if she's, you know, wanting to do this, or if she is like triggered or whatever, she needs to log off of YouTube. And you have Mrs. P over there saying, yep, yep, yep. And if they're her true friends, they need to be telling her this. Mrs. P, yep. Well, Robbie and Lycan, shouldn't you be telling that to Mrs. P? You need to get off YouTube for a while. That's what a real friend would do. Mrs. P isn't making money off of YouTube to make a living. She ain't making money. She ain't making content. And yes, that is what you should do as a friend. Is if you're triggered or if it's too much, you need to log off. Okay? You need to log off. But you should also be telling your friend you should not be stirring the shit pot and attacking. But again, I totally understand. Robbie and Lycan can't control Mrs. P. And it's pretty clear neither can her husband. He already said that. All right? He already said that. He can't control her when she's got these outbursts. So, what's the answer here? What's the end game? Like I said before, what is the end game? Are we going to continue to allow some certain people to do these nasty behaviors in this YouTube circle? Okay? Because there's a couple of them in here. One of them keeps stirring the drama, and then she goes running to these people to get them to attack. And now she thinks it's fun. It's fun because now it's like, oh, you say my name, you look at my wall, I'm going to run in and I'm going to tell these two people and they're going after you. I can do whatever I want to do. I can say whatever I want to say about you. I can do whatever I want and they're going to go after you. That's not how it works in these YouTube streets. That's not how it works with terms of service. And then we have another one that wants to trigger people. And he wants to bring up a lot of hurt and a lot of pain. So what's the end game? When does this stop? I mean, we go from people just clapping back when I first came in here, just clapping back and being ugly. And I'm like, gosh, this is pretty horrible. that, you know, as bad as people go back and forth, to people go in real life, to now it even really going worse in real life. I mean, seriously. Enough is enough. In my opinion, there's really two people that are completely out of control on these YouTube streets. With that, I'm going to go. Okay? I don't know if I'm going to talk about this subject again. I went on way longer than I wanted to. But this is sick behavior. Everyone have a good evening, and we'll just catch you again.